is the last and final day of my 1-month retreat here. So I'm just making this video to reflect on all what's happened in the past week, and I'll try my best to kind of get it out, because a lot has came up. But we cut our diet yesterday, which means we have had some salt now. Having no salt makes you energetically more open, and so we've had salt now, so that we're kind of closing back down. We're putting our protection back on before going out into the busy world. So it's quite interesting, and it was quite an exciting time to do so, to have some fruit. Great appreciation for the foods. And for the last week, just over last week, I've been dieting another plant which is called bobenzana. And that was interesting getting to know. It is a little tree. It grows into a little tree, and so I haven't felt it as strongly as I have all the other ones, which are bigger trees. Basically what it works on is your heart center, and so everybody here at the retreat had bobenzana for just over the last week, and some people it had like immense effect on, like in a feeling kind of way, but for me it's been very subtle and quite gradual. But I'd definitely say this week has been a time of tuning in to self-love and self-appreciation. So that just naturally happened. It's kind of just very good timing. So recognizing where there's constrictions in my heart center, like commitment, struggle with commitment a little bit, and just reflecting on the ability to receive love, and my reflecting on also my ability to give out love, and it's all been coming up, and also compassion, really being in compassion, really feeling compassion. There's a term in Buddhism that I can't quite remember, but it's like, what it means is to like look at another, and instead of being like jealous of their success, looking at them and being really, really grateful for their success. So looking at another and really honoring the abundance that's coming to them, because that abundance is, there's abundance in the world for everyone. And hola, oh, smoothie. Oh, gracias. Ciao. See, we're actually having like normal food now. Beautiful. There's enough for all of us, if we manage to get our systems in place, that would help. But really getting our mind into the right frequency of balance and abundance, which is just so there. Going to be commencing our post-dieta. So it's like there's a restriction of foods over a certain period of days for like the first 4 days, 7 days, 10 days. and then up to 1 month for some people, up to about 2.5 months. And can't wait to have coffee and chocolate. So interesting what the mind does. It's been like fantasizing about coffee and chocolate quite a lot, so I had to like watch myself a few times. But basically, really for honoring the plants and committing to the plants, you are, for the majority of that time, not having sex, and I think including a new relationship or kissing is prohibited, and pork, chili, no pharmaceutical drugs or alcohol. So it's a commitment, and I am told by the facilitators and from another member of the group how serious it is to be fully engaged in this stage. Like, our healing doesn't stop here, it continues. If we break them, it can have detrimental effects. It can reverse the healing that we've done. Many things can manifest that might not be positive for you, so it's a really important time. I'll be working here and learning more here, so I'll be in, for 2 or 3 months I'll be in this retreat center, so I have quite a supportive environment around me, but I'll still be going out to Tarapoto and Lamas, the little villages in the city nearby, so I'll still be exposed to the fruits of everything all around me. I'm just going to reflect a little bit on the processing that I've done this week. I missed an ayahuasca ceremony because my body was telling me that I need to actually go in and do the work for why it is I feel all of this fear and pain inside, emotionally, but also in my organ. So when I did this, like, I'd had some big dreams with my father connected, and I started to do some deep inner work, so inner listening, and to mostly my inner child. And I also worked with EFT that I talked to you about, emotional freedom technique. So I was tapping on meridian lines in the body to go into the subconscious to show you where there is blockages, so you can clear them. This is what I did, and I really committed to it, and it was painful. And what I was seeing, because I'm quite energetically aware at the moment, what I was seeing was when I tapped into the certain pain, so it was like if I was tapping on loneliness, you can feel where that is in your body. So a lot of the insignificance that I carry and around that restriction is actually in my groin and my pelvis area, where I carry a lot of pain. And that's connected to beliefs that I've formed when I was this little being. They say, like, from the age of 0 to 8 is when we form a lot of our mind patterns. The neurons in our brains form, creating that network of your base patterning for how we perceive the world. And I think like maybe I didn't want to admit some of this things that were there with my parents. Not wanting to hurt them or disrespect them, because they did the best they could and they brought me into this world, and I very much honor that. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, a lot of you can tap on your meridian lines and it can show you where the stuck emotion is held in the body. There's a lot of the loneliness and the emptiness that I carry is in the pit of my stomach, and obviously my restriction of voice is actually held in the throat chakra. The stomach is the solar plexus chakra, and obviously where I carry a lot of my pain is in my pelvis area, which is like your base chakra, so that's the orange one related to your sexuality and security, and that is where I feel the insignificance, the really shut down, I'm not worthy. I'm holding a lot of that there and not feeling safe in the world. So what happened was I started to really see that at the time of my mother and father splitting up, they got back together when I was born, but they then split up when I was around 2 or 3, I think. And so I spent a lot of time with my mother at that stage. And what I realized was that I felt all of her pain at that time. So I'm like this little being, seeing my mother, but feeling my mother too. So she felt I know. She felt helpless. She felt angry. She felt empty. She felt so alone and sad, and that period of time, it's funny because I have memories of walking with her, but they're just being this, or her cycling with me, or me painting with her, but they're just being this texture of sadness that I could detect in the air, even though we would laugh, and she was beautiful, she used beautiful words with me, and she really loved me. I've carried all of her emotions as a result of being this intuitive and empathetic being. And my father-daughter relationship, there's definitely been some kind of issues there that I haven't addressed. I'm not going to go into all my personal stuff now, because I'd hate him to see this and to feel like I was attacking him or any of that. Sorry, my sound. And but there is huge recognition that there has been some pain and hurt caused over the time of my growing up. It's become very evident because it's come so to the surface that I can't not see it. And I really, really have now felt the pain that was caused. So in the past, growing up when I was young, it was my mom would say, "Are you okay?" And I'd say, yeah, it's all okay, but this something had happened and it hurt, and I never addressed it. I just pushed it off and kind of let it be, when really it wasn't okay. And what I've come to realize now is like actually going in and seeing what's there. A lot of the feelings around my insignificance and things like that is from being quite shut down. And so I felt a lot of that pain, and now I've moved into places of anger, and like I've really moved into it and really seen it. So I've acknowledged it, and as I've acknowledged it and felt it, I've begun to just like start to say, just to let it go now. And it was a really, really, really difficult thing to do. But I can take responsibility for myself as I'm an adult. I do not need to go into fault and blame with my father or my mother at all. It's not about fault and blame. It's just about feeling and not ignoring. And the important thing is, recognizing that they are just human and they did the best they could with their own conditioning and their kind of like response to being in the world as they tried to work it out when they were little children. So with that comes compassion for their pain and their suffering. But in saying that, it's important that you stand in your power, and if things are still hurting you, that you say, no, don't do that anymore. That doesn't fit with me, and that doesn't work for me, and that doesn't bring balance in my life. And that's not coming from a place of reaction with them. It's very important that you're coming from a place of empowerment within yourself. Recognizing the importance of like doing the work on your mind and your body, like as individuals, like doing the work with self-awareness, so that we can clear ourselves and when we bring children into the world, we're not passing on those old negative belief patterns that don't need to be there. At least, we're making a commitment to our children to give them the best possible future, and to our world to give the best possible world. This ceremony was quite different from a lot of the other ones. It was encouraged that we had a little bit less than usual, that we were going to keep it like quite respectful and kind of contained because it was our last one. So again, just a kind of dosage that suits us. And so I had 3/4 of a cup, not too much, and a lot of other people had 1. I think like it's really important to know your dosage of medicine, rather than abusing it or pushing for your ego to say, I do this, I can get as much of a trip as I want, because it's not about a trip, it's really a medicine. Knowing your limits is definitely beneficial for this kind of work. And we all sat up in ceremony, which is usually we've just been lying down, closing our eyes, and then you're kind of in your space. But this time we were all sitting up, aware of each other and aware of the magic in the room. And So for me, there was a lot of color and a lot of vibrancy, and it wasn't easy by any means of by any means. It was still quite difficult for me, but like I did have some beautiful visions. My intention was light, love, show me love, because I'd been seeing so much of my fears, and color, and so I was getting some subtleties, and it was beautiful. At one point I seen like it was like this flower opening. The shaman's role is just so fantastic. The work of the shamans should be so accredited. You know, they are bridging this physical world into the spiritual. The life that they live is in the spiritual. They know the spiritual world, they know the sacred world. And you know, they have awareness when you're in your process of what's going on with you. They can tap in and they can maneuver energy. And it was balance that I wanted to express, because in my ceremony I almost had like a conversation with Mother Nature, and she was saying that we have a lot of pain and disease because of the workings of our mind being out of alignment with the workings of nature. And she was kind of saying that it's very real. She is kind of saying that her life force can stop. The life force that is behind us and our breath, the life force that is behind her, can stop. And that it's really important that we start committing to her, working to work with her in harmony. She also was kind of showing me that nature and creation is very raw. It's a force of itself, and like it can look really scary, the power of creation and this rawness that I'm talking about, but it's real. So it's like, to be frightened of it is to be frightened of yourself. So it was like, you know, inside my body there's like blood and organs that wouldn't necessarily, and a skeleton that, you know, to look at outside of the skin of this body that I identify with would be really raw, but it's really real. And not to discount the reality of it, like not to be scared of the real. And I think many of us are quite scared. And the Buddhists used a terminology that was like, we think we're scared of death, but we're actually really scared of life. and our true potential of creation. So that was quite a big lesson, to really look at the real and not be frightened by it. Because on the other side of the real is this, of the raw, is this, immense beauty. Underneath, it's like, yes, I'm this beating heart and these organs and this blood and everything else. But there is this pulse of life force and this essence of creation in me that is just majesty and so beautiful. And I'm really grateful to the shamans for doing the work that they do on this planet. Like at their, definitely people have formed their judgments of what shamans really do, and there are some people out there practicing in not with the best wholesome intent, but the ones that are doing the true work for our humanity and for our planet. We think work is about making money and striving outside of ourselves. How many of us are living in a place of that untrue and really wearing ourselves out? How many of us are not present with our children? Because those children, as I said earlier, are empathetic, open beings that feel and know. And we're kind of entering this, we're in this digital world now, and we're constantly distracting ourselves by looking at screens, which I don't think the internet or this digital age is bad at all. There's positives in everything. This is our evolution. But you need to ask yourself, where are you within it? Have you got the right balance within yourself? Because I just see so much parents looking at their phones and not with their children. So it's a time that we really, really need to work on our self-awareness and to kind of evaluate what's important to us. And I believe that's important. And I believe our children are important. And I believe Mother Nature is important. And recognizing our sacred selves and the sacred is so important. It's like Charles Einstein, in his book, which is fantastic, it's called Yoga for Eating. It's not just about eating, it's about how we are in the world, and our disconnect from our very core nourishment does have an effect on how we place ourselves and our health. But he says that in our hectic modern life, we are missing the intimacy of true connection to what really is. He says we're not tasting the sweetness of life. And I think that's so profound. Like, it's so simple, but it's so on point. And, you know, he goes on to make points like, no wonder we eat so much sugar, because it promises this sweetness, although it's like a hollow promise. So it fills that space, if for a short while, but it's not actually giving us any nutriment. And you know, there's big issues with sugar. So people are really craving to feel good. People are craving to feel happy and to feel the sweetness of life, which is such a potential at any given moment. It really, really is. It's there for us to pick up and to embrace and to come from. It's also a point to come from, to give. Quite deep stuff that I'm talking about in these videos, but I've come to realize that it's so necessary. And with the women that I've met here, it's like, and the men, we're just sharing such a similar view of the importance of this work. And as I've now seen, the importance of balance within nature for our health, the importance of balance within ourselves that's in line with nature for our health, Mother Nature, which is in line with truth. You know, because we're not separate from nature, we actually come from nature. We are it. But identifying with the mind so strongly as we do, and being told by society what's important, isn't necessarily in line with that place. So I'm committed to walking a path of alignment with that, to do the work for myself and for others and for our earth. I mean, you can see it when you walk in nature yourself. Like, if you go in nature, you instantly feel this like drop in your being. It's like there's this space, because it's a recognition. And you know, the breath is so important. Talking with a member of the group here, and it's just like a reminder of how important it is for us to breathe, like really breathe. When we're stressed out and really outside of ourselves, looking outside of ourselves, we have a tendency to like just kind of take short breaths, like running around like, oh, there's so much to do. And as a result, like, it's creating tension in our bodies, because it's not, our bodies aren't getting the life force that it needs. And so, you know, we're locking up. And There's a lot of breath work out there that you can do to start to come closer to the breath. Meditation brings you closer to the breath. There's a technique called rebirthing. I've seen that the breath, it's not even separate from yourself. Like, we think the breath is something outside of ourselves that we take in, but actually it's simultaneous. And life force is breathing us. I purged for the first time. So the first purged by being sick. So that's a really good sign for me, I think. It was just so intense that it came up and came out, and it felt really, really good. And it's hard to let yourself kind of it's quite easy to hold on and say, I don't want to be sick, I don't want to be sick, but it's such a release, and it's moving things out when you do. So I was really happy that I was, not at the time, but just after. And in reflection, it was there was this space. So what I did this time was look at it looking at ayahuasca is a mirror. And this is what I've done, this is what someone told me to do. And she's just reflecting back your blockages, your old beliefs stuck in your mind that isn't serving you. And so a lot of the stuff that was kind of coming up for me was things like I just wanted to be covered and safe and warm. So it was the whole time feeling unsafe. And being very aware, because it's unavoidable in that space. We're in a circle, and we're sharing this very intimate experience with others. So actually not feeling any disconnection from anyone in the room, but at the same time feeling so disconnected. So seeing that we're connected, but actually myself feeling removed, and also not really wanting to be seen. So it was whenever I thought the shaman was coming over to help me, it was oh no, not me, I can't do it. And I can't do it came up quite a lot. I just can't do it. So a lot of resistance to being in there and just wanting it to be over. And so I'm starting to piece all this together into how I perceive life and how I move around the world. And there is definite correspondence to some of those things that come up. And like I said before, it's what's been coming up a lot. And since the ceremony finished, actually those things bubbling up, and actually feeling again the unworthy, and feeling a little bit just sore in my heart, and recognizing that a lot of it is about connection with others. And so I must continue to do the work of self-love. And so that's my process now, and that's what I'm going to be working with. And I have been working with a little bit in the last couple of days, but dropping down into my heart space and kind of flipping around a lot of the stuff that I've been getting coming up in my ceremonies. Flipping it around to, you know, I am so worthy, and I am so loved, and I am so beautiful. It's not the stuff we tell ourselves often, but not me anyway. And I am so intrinsically connected, and I am safe and supported, and you are loved, and you are worthy. You are intrinsically connected, and you are safe, and you are supported. So I suppose I'll end it on that note. And I plan to make a few other videos while I'm here. I should still be doing some ceremony, and if I feel called, then I will do so. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and I wish you well on your journey.